To get a bit more analysis on the situation in Libya, I'm joined on the set by our international affairs editor, Philip Turle. Philip, this is a conflict that has been going on for years. Just first of all, set the stage for us. Remind us who controls what at the moment.
Well, if you're not following Libya on a regular basis, there is enough there to get confused about who is in charge of what. I think it'd be good to look at a map, first of all, to see how Libya has been carved up since the death of Muammar Gaddafi back in 2011. Now, you have in the northwestern part of the country, the capital Tripoli, that is under the control of Fayez al-Sarraj, who leads the UN-backed government of national accord. And then in the east of the country, you have Tobruk, which is under the control of the Libyan National Army, which is led by General Khalifa Haftar. Those two men do not get on. They have hatred for each other. The only thing that they do have in common was their loathing of the former leader Muammar Gaddafi. So since 2015 and the creation of the Government of National Accord, there has been an impasse in trying to reach an agreement on how to move Libya forward. General Haftar has tried militarily to capture Tripoli. He hasn't managed to do that. He was pushed back by forces of the Government of National Accord. The two men have been to the negotiating table several times, twice this month, once in Switzerland and once in Morocco, and there is some hope that some kind of political agreement may begin to start being worked out. I only say hope because we're still a long way from the signing of any political agreement between the two men. Principally, I'll give you a reason for that, is that they don't see eye to eye on many important issues. For example, who should run the central bank in Libya, who should be in charge of the National Oil Corporation, and more importantly, who should control the armed forces. General Khalifa will never give up being in charge of the armed forces in the country. So it's going to be very difficult for them to see eye to eye on those two issues. And another element which is important in this also is the fact that the announcement that Sarraj is going to stand down in October, and an earlier announcement this week that due to protests the government in Tobruk was also resigning, is going to seriously complicate efforts by the United Nations and other international parties to forge some kind of an agreement between the two sides that will bring Libya closer to peace.
Philip, there's a lot of other countries that are involved in this conflict, notably Russia and Turkey. Talk us through their interests in Libya.
Well, let's take those two countries, shall we, one by one. First of all, Russia. Now, General Haftar reached out to Russia back in 2015 to Vladimir Putin, basically because Russia's interested in the oil reserves, the gas reserves, and it wants to have its say in having control more of Europe, the Mediterranean, and North Africa. And so in exchange, General Haftar was promising to give them more access to bases in the country and more access to oil, because as we just saw there are very important oil reserves in Libya. As far as Turkey is concerned, Turkey has been backing the UN accepted government in Tripoli, putting them on a crash course basically with Russia. So we seem to see in Libya almost a rerun of what's been going on in Syria, and that's why many people are saying, with Turkey and Russia both involved in trying to exert their influence in the country, basically because of the natural resources there, this could be a potential Syrian conflict that will drag on for years, which has already been the case, and we need to find some kind of way out of that. But there are other countries involved as well, notably France. They're all trying hard to find a solution. At the moment, it looks as though there are peace talks, there will be more peace talks, but with the country endemic with corruption, with people angry about the fact they can't make ends meet and they can't get their lives together and provide food for their children, there is growing impatience amongst the Libyan people. They don't want just a strong man, they want a man who can reunite the country and move forward.
Philip, thanks for that. France 24's Philip Turle.